This one right here, AJ, Andre Fili versus Daniel Pineda. Holy shit, this is a great matchup. This is a great matchup. It's a featherweight contest. Andre Fili is minus 225 favorite, plus a 190 comeback for Daniel Pineda. The same Daniel Pineda who's been around forever, who has fought in every promotion you could fight for, who has, he is very well regarded and well known as a dude who is a deadly fighter, even though, let's just say, his level of skill and his level of danger doesn't necessarily sync up with the success that he's had. You know what I mean? He hasn't been the most successful. And oftentimes, the first round is when he's most dangerous. To get past the first round, it starts getting a little weird for our boy Daniel Pineda, a.k.a. The Pit, right? And I will say, Andre Fili, man, that's up there, top 10 nicknames, right? I love it. Every time I say it, it rolls off the tongue so well. Come on, man. But this is going to be interesting, AJ, because both of these dudes are former regional champions. You know what I'm saying? Both of these dudes have interesting grappling accolades, I guess I should say. Have you ever heard of this? I knew Joseph Benavidez. I know he teaches. I know that he has people under his tutelage, but to be a Jiu-Jitsu piano key belt under Joseph Benavidez, that's what Andre Fili is, right? So I don't know what Jiu-Jitsu is. I don't know what variation of Jiu-Jitsu that is, but it's interesting, and I had never really heard of that before. Daniel Pineda, he's a BJJ black belt, and he uses that acumen very well, man, because he gets his back on the ground. He's just going for an arm bar, going for a heel hook, going for whatever, but we really know him as the kickboxer, man. AJ, let me ask you this. Andre Fili, I think we've seen he's a gamer. He's always bringing the fight. However, sometimes he does get caught staring in the mirror. Sometimes I think he's a little too patient for his own good when he needs to step on the gas. How does he fare in that first round against Daniel Pineda? Do you think that Pineda says, I'm just going to go all out, put a pace on him? How do you see this fight taking place? This one's going to be crazy.
Dude, this one's going to be really crazy. I had a real hard time picking this one, Derek, man. I definitely think if Fili is able to, fight how he wants to, fight from range, very fast, very creative, it's going to be a lot of fun. He got absolutely grilled in his last fight against Bryce Mitchell, but that's how it's going to do. But surprisingly, I think he did a lot better in the wrestling than people were giving him credit for. You know what I'm saying? Bryce Mitchell's an absolute savage on the ground, so you can't really take that away from him. I think he did a lot better, especially there was one, I think it was the second round. He was expecting to get taken down again, and he caught Thug Nasty with a fat knee to the face, man. And it was very impressive. Obviously, Bryce Mitchell still won the fight, so it is what it is. Now, Daniel Pineda, I really like him because he throws heavy kicks, doesn't mind the brawl, but he likes to take this big breath and reset and then go. And that's kind of what got him in trouble with the Cub Swanson fight, because he was looking good in that first round, but like you said, he gets a little tired. He's gonna have to push it in the first round to really get it done. But after that, he kind of starts to fade, my man. And he does that exactly like I was saying. He'll swing. Okay, time to go again. And that's when Cub Swanson caught him. And I think if Andre Fili can keep it fast, keep it creative, keep the pace going, it's going to end up really well for him. I see this playing out actually in kind of multiple ways. I'm hoping for a stand-up battle. I don't really see Daniel Pineda kind of going for any shots unless he's hurt. Same thing with Fili. I definitely think he's going to keep it standing, keep the kicks coming. But I think we're in for a slugfest, my man. I'm expecting fireworks from this one. And unless Pineda gets tired, then we'll see some game plans change. But I think from the jump, first round, you can't blink for that first round, man. After that, it's kind of a little more up in the air. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, AJ. I want to believe what you believe, because I'm hyping it up too, right? I'm like, this is going to be a great kickboxing matchup, all of that jazz, right? This has all of the makings for one of those contests. However, one thing that I have noticed as of late, man, you look at Andre Fili's fight with Charles Jourdain, and you look at his fight with Sadiq Yusuff. And one thing that we know that's very common about those opponents is they're very good strikers, man. They're very legit strikers. Now, what do we notice in that fight? Andre Fili's been taking much more of a wrestling heavy approach, right? It might not be like super off the bat, I'm just going to shoot for the takedown, but it's like, I'm going to use the hands, use the kicks. I'm getting that takedown, because the moment that he has any type of I'm getting pieced up a little bit, that's always in his back pocket, which is what's going to make this fight interesting. Now, he took down Charles Jourdain 5 times, and he took down Sadiq Yusuff 3 times, man. That goes to show that wrestling is a big part of his strategy moving forward, because he keeps talking about it in his post-fight or his pre-fight presser. He's saying that he hates how inactive that he's been, and it's not up to him. You know what I mean? This is just the UFC brass. He's like, I can have a big win, and they'll still put me out for 6 months. Have a terrible loss like he did against Bryce Mitchell, out for 6 months. He's trying to be active. He's trying to go. So with that being said, man, I think that there's a lot of momentum in Andre Fili's favor. However, one thing that's going to be dangerous, man, he always keeps his hands low, and when the strike comes, he has this perfect knack for just blocking at the perfect time, right? But those hands are so low, and against a Pineda whose hands, legs, knees, shins, everything is dangerous, that's just dangerous, right? And one thing we know about Pineda, this is really the big contrast here. We know that he's flat-footed. We know he's trying to throw everything in every single one of his shots. That's probably why he takes those breaths, man, because every shot is a haymaker. He hasn't won a fight by decision in over 10 years, AJ. I don't know if people know that stat. Over 10 years, he has not won a fight by decision. His last 14 wins are via submission or knockout. Overall, let's see what my numbers got. Overall, the man is 27-14, 4-5 in the UFC, 9 knockouts, 18 submissions, no decision wins, 5 decision losses. Now for Fili, 21-8, 9-7 in the UFC, 9 knockouts, 3 submissions, and 9 decisions, AJ. So ultimately, what this comes down to me, really, is Andre Fili is going to have a reach advantage and a height advantage. He got about 4 inches in reach, about 3 inches in height, man. This is going to be interesting if it does play out as a kickboxing match, but I did want to note this out, right? Andre Fili has fought somebody and has a win over somebody who is very similar to Daniel Pineda, and I want to know if you know this. He has a win against Mowgli, Gabriel Benitez. Did you know that?
Yep.
So that's like a real key indicator for this matchup is that Fili could handle this type of striker, right? He also has a big win over Artem Lobov, who's a dude who has a lot of experience, right? Those are big notable wins, and he's fought a high level dude. Yeah, I know it was at the beginning of his career, man, but we can't forget he has a loss, but he still has the experience. He fought a Max Holloway already, you know what I mean? So this Fili has done it all, seen it all, right? Daniel Pineda, he got a big win over Herbert Burns, but he has a couple losses to like the Chaz Skellys and the Johnny Bedfords of the world. So with that being said, I think that gives us a real key indication into how this fight could play out. Lastly, before we give our picks, AJ, accuracy is not Andre Fili's strong suit, man. He fires at about a 36% clip with the striking defense about 52%. Now for Pineda, he lands at basically a 50% clip, man, and he has a 44% defense, so a little worse defense. I don't know, man. It'll be a fun one, but give me your pick and why.
Yeah, I know it's going to be a fun one. I think Andre Fili, he has kind of the fight IQ because he's been thrown in with so many just killers out there. Like you said, a Max Holloway, all of the other ones you name. He's very fast, very creative. And Pineda, if he can get it done early, it's going to be a very exciting fight. But me, personally, I think Fili's going to pull it out in the end. We're going to see a long fight, up and down, back and forth. And I think it is going to go up and down, like I said, to the ground a little bit, but I'm really hoping for more of a kickboxing match so we can kind of see what these guys are made of. But Fili, they both actually have ground games in their pocket, but I'm going Fili by decision. I think it's just going to be a kind of one of those throw-ups to the judges. But I got Fili. Who you got?
Well, listen, man, I honestly think this is a coin toss. You know what I mean? Even though the odds are skewed as they are, I think Pineda, if he can get, like, if he touches you in that first round, it could be ugly. He has a big first round knockout over Ray Trujillo. I don't know if you know who that is, AJ, but he's a real killer in PFL right now, making a run for that $1 million. That's a very impressive win. I'll just say that. So even though Pineda's had a couple no contests recently, he should be on probably a bigger streak than he is right now, but I guess I got to go in my heart of heart, man. Andre Fili, I think he gets the job done, and I think he's going to catch Pineda in the second or third round when he's tired and probably get him out of there. So I'm going to go a TKO finish. I don't know if it's going to be a flush KO, but I will go TKO on that one, AJ.